Welcome to today's podcast, where I've got James West from Magus Private Wealth. I met these guys a few years back now and really liked the way that they were approaching the investment management and financial planning side of things with clients and business owners. So why don't we get James to describe their process, and we'll kick it off from there. Welcome, James. Great to have you on the show today.
Hi, Daryl. Thank you very much. Good to see you.
Yeah, likewise. Hey, look, why don't you give us a bit of background as to how you started with Magus, so your background first, and then tell us a bit about the Magus way of doing things, and we'll dig into it from there.
Yeah, sure. So my background is in private banking. So I spent 30 years in private banking, being the senior private banker, with a niche market for business owners and entrepreneurs. So an ideal client would be a business owner who's just sold their business and they've received their funds. Can you help? What do we do next? But I try to find a niche for myself, which was to find those business owners 2 or 3 years before they were due to exit their business, because that's the time where they really need help.
Yeah.
So I would build a concierge service, a circle of trust around my clients, where I would know and work with business coaches, corporate finance, lawyers, tax advisors, everything that a client would need before they were looking to sell their business. So had a really good 30 years in private banking, really enjoyed it, met lots of business owners, clients that I'm still looking after now. I've looked after for over 20 years, so I know them very well, getting to know their children very well. And then 2.5 years ago, I think I got the 30-year itch in working in private banking, and my gut was telling me something wasn't quite right. So I actually took some of my own medicine and sat down with a lifestyle coach and had a conversation with that lifestyle coach, which was, I'm not quite sure what this feeling is. Can you help me?
Yeah.
And off the back of those sessions, which were invaluable, I came to the decision that it was time to move away from banking. And what I really enjoyed is building relationships with clients, is business development. And a very good friend of mine introduced me to Mike Aiken, who's the chairman of Magus. So I met Mike, had a really good conversation with him about Magus as a business, what it stands for, where the business is looking to go, and joined just under 2 years ago now. So my role, my official title is Relationship Director. So my role is to manage, enhance, grow the relationships that we have with our external professional partners. So the likes of yourselves, business coaching firms, lawyers, mortgage brokers, banks, all those sorts of external introductions that our clients are looking to be introduced to.
Okay. So it sounds like the heart of, I guess, the way you do things is get yourself into the center of that relationship, client relationship, and surround them with all the right sort of professionals, so that you become the go-to person whenever they need anything, a bit like a concierge.
Yeah, very true. I think a lot of what we do is introduce our clients to someone they didn't know they needed to be introduced to, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Identify the problem before and solve it before they even see it coming.
Absolutely. So 3 of the words that we use with our clients when we first meet them is why, what, and how. So the why is we spend time talking to our client and saying, just tell us what your vision is. What is your personal vision? Now, if they're a business owner, which a lot of our clients are, what is your vision for your business? Where do you see your business in 3 years' time, 5 years' time, 10 years' time? What is your exit strategy? We then reflect that back to their personal circumstances. So what are they looking to achieve in their financial goals? At what age are they looking to retire? Once they've sold that first business, what would they want to do next? Would they want to invest in another business? Would they want to retire, they've had enough, and do the things that they haven't been able to do while they own their business? What are their financial goals for their children, for their grandchildren? This day and age, getting your children onto the property ladder is very difficult. Can you afford to support your children, your grandchildren in achieving that? So the why is huge for us. Yep. So the client really opens up and has those conversations, not only with themselves, but also with their spouses. So a number of conversations we have with clients, it's the first time that as a couple, they've sat down and openly discussed what they're looking to do and what their aspirations are for the future. So once we've worked on that why piece, now that could take 1 meeting, 2 meetings, 3 meetings. It takes as much time as the client needs. We then move on to the what.
Yep.
So the what is, what have you currently got in place financially that's going to help you get to your financial goals, and what are the gaps? But we can only do that gap analysis with clients when we know what their vision is and what they're working towards. And then the how, very simply, is left to us, and that's how we deliver the plan that's going to make sure our client meets their financial goals.
So starting at the very highest level first, getting the context right before you then work out and go, hey, what's the right plan of action and the details? And it sounds like you're very clear on the needs that you're meeting.
Absolutely. A number of our clients are business owners and entrepreneurs. Yep. If we ask our business owner clients, have you got a business plan? Yes. When did you last review it? Recently. That's fantastic. In the next hour, could you send me your personal business plan for you and your family? No, we haven't done one.
Yeah, and in all likelihood, it's not too often that you find business owners with business plans in place either.
You'll know better than me.
That's what I've seen. So what do you work a lot with business owners by the sound of it? It's not just people with money. You target business owners and do a bit with them. What is it about business owners that you like working with them and entrepreneurs?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So in terms of clients that we look after at Magus, we're what I would call a generalist. So it's not just business owners and entrepreneurs. It's any clients with if they're retired, if they're young, if they've been working for the same firm for a number of years. But what I think we've got is that we have developed over the years a niche of looking after these business owners and entrepreneurs. And that's purely because we want to get to know them, as I've mentioned previously, 2 or 3 years before they've sold their business, and introduce them to our trusted advisors. So it typically starts when we're working on the vision piece with our clients, is what is your business worth? And I think typically clients will have an idea of what they think the business is worth, but does that translate to what the business is actually worth? It's like selling a house and having no idea what the property is worth, but what you think it might be worth or what you'd like it to be worth. So for us, with business owners, it's making that introduction to the right person that can, one, value the business now, but then help the client understand where the value is, where the growth is within that business, what are the axles that can be moved one way or the other to increase the value. Yep. Once we've got that in place, it's then a lot easier, we find, for our business owners to start to plan the exit of their business.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if they know the starting point, then they know what they want to achieve and what they feel they need, then they know the task and size of the task ahead of them and what needs to be done, and whether they work for over a number of years or whether they can exit now, for example, depending on their energy.
Yeah, and for a number of our business owner clients, one of the words that's used an awful lot is security. It's giving security to their family. So if we can work on their vision piece, work with their personal cash flows and say, if you sell your business for X, then that means that your family, you're going to achieve all the financial goals that you set for you, for your children and your grandchildren. Anything above that figure, that then really helps our clients say, great, so that money above the figure that we need to hit our financial goals, personal financial goals, I can put that into business. That could be my play money, that could be my seed capital for a new business, or I might want to do some investments in some other businesses. So it gives them the security for their family, but also clarity on what capital they will have for the next chapter in their business life.
Yeah, because often it's, especially in this day and age, it's not about moving into retirement. It's moving into whatever is next. And often they need to know, hey, look, I'm well funded. I've got options. I can go buy a yacht or go live on a desert island, as the story used to be. Or I can, as you say, angel invest. I can now, I've developed a whole lot of skills as a business owner over my lifetime and my career. How can I use that as a force for good? How can I reinvest those skills and leverage through someone else? So I've got options, and I'm not done yet. Is a story we often hear. Yeah, I'm out of this business. I'm ready to move on, but I need to figure out what's next, and it's not always just going to play a few rounds of golf.
Absolutely. And one of the great joys that I've had over the years is where I've had a client who has sold their business, and it may be in a difficult exit. Due diligence may be difficult. There may be one or two deals that fell through at the last minute. And then I'll have a conversation with my client post the exit of their business and say, what do you do next? What do you do now? And they're in a quandary. Do they want to set up a new business? It may be too soon. It may be a bit too raw to do that. Do they want to go and work for someone? Typically, the response I get is, no one would employ me. I've run businesses before. Would you like to stop working? Would you like to retire? Well, no, I'll get under my spouse's feet and I'll get into trouble, so that's not a good idea. And sometimes there's an interim period from when they've sold their business to what do I do now? So we have a number of young entrepreneurs that we look after who are at the early stage of their entrepreneurial career, where they're looking for a bit of grey hair. They're looking for someone that can help and guide them, and they potentially haven't got the finances to pay for that time. So it's really nice to connect that business owner that's just sold, introduce them to a young entrepreneur, and let them work together. And I find that our young entrepreneurial clients absolutely love that. They learn so much from someone that's 20, 30, 40 years older than them, that's been there, seen it and done it. But also our clients that have sold their business, that thought, what do I do now? The two things that I've not had in my business career is time and money. I've now got that. What do I do? And it's nice to see them get really energized by talking to them 30 or 40 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's really nice to see the difference of those two business owners, one a more mature business owner, shall we say, and one just starting out.
It's more than just the money, isn't it? It's the joy of seeing things like that and being involved in things like that, and completing the circle, I guess.
Absolutely.
So James, is there something about the product or the service offering that you guys have at Magus that you adapted or do something special for business owners?
I don't think it's so much about the service that we offer. I think it's about the people and the people that work for us at Magus. Magus is a privately owned business. Yeah. So we have 3 shareholders within the business, and they lead and drive the business forward. And their entrepreneurial spirit rubs off on everyone that works at Magus. So one of the things that really attracted me to Magus is that Mike Aitken, who's our chairman, and Dante Peters, who's our chief investment officer, they between them own 2/3 of Magus, yet they're financial planners. So they own the business, but they also look after clients. They have a complete understanding of what our clients like, what our clients enjoy, and how we need to amend the service and the offering that we provide to our clients. So the whole business has got a really positive can-do attitude. The client is at the heart of everything that we do, and it rubs off on everyone that works for the business. So I just think as a business, everyone's got entrepreneurial spirit within them, and that really helps us lean towards having a niche looking after business owners and entrepreneurs.
Okay. So given that you're working with a few business owners, what are some of the common mistakes you see that business owners make when it comes to planning for their next phase?
Having a plan or not having a plan, and seeking help and guidance first. I would probably say in my experience, it is talking to a business owner who's very close to exiting the business, and they're so entwined into the business, they've got so much control within the business that any deal they're likely to get is going to involve an earn-out and a long-term earn-out period, perhaps 3, 4 or 5 years, as opposed to planning ahead, looking to put that management company in place You know, having those that are really strong ambassadors for your business, having some skin in the game, that if you're looking to sell the business, that their motivations are aligned to yours as well. So I'd probably say a business owner who hasn't had that thought and that planning process to actually step back from the business before it gets sold.
Yeah. And so planning is always a critical thing in any big decision in your life. So, okay, so planning, because, we can look at, employee share ownership schemes, handing over the control. And you mentioned the earn-out period, the amount of business owners that I've seen who have entered into some sort of earn-out period, as part of the exit transaction, if you like, of their business, agreeing to a 3, 4, 5 year period. 6 months in, they're going, hey, look, I can't work for this new boss. I'm now in employee mode. Doesn't work for me. I've been running the business myself. And the new owners, the new boss is much worse than the last boss. I'm out of here. And they leave because they just can't cope with the new environment, because they didn't plan for it. And they end up leaving a whole lot of money on the table. And for me, that's just so sad. And because it's avoidable. So, yes.
Yeah, and I have huge sympathy for those clients. If it is your baby, it's your business, and you're very hands-on, that's why the business has been so successful. Absolutely. But if that means that you, as you say, you then become an employee of that business, that must be so tough and so difficult. So we're really passionate about meeting those clients, a few years before they get to that stage, to help them plan so they don't have that experience, because it can tarnish for them their exit of their business.
Well, exactly. They've built the business up over the years, and the exit process should be a happy and joyous, momentous occasion, and too often it ends up being a messy divorce. And as we say, it is avoidable. So if they get in, do some work with an advisor, a planner, someone who can help them well ahead of time before you're thinking about leaving or transitioning roles, the earlier the better, right?
Yeah, so we use the phrase of our clients, speed bumps. So part of our role looking after our clients is to see the speed bumps before they do, see what the warning signs are, and introduce our clients to people that have been there, that have had those experiences. Again, one of the great joys of my job is talking to a client that's about to go on that journey of getting their business ready for an exit, but introducing them socially to another client who's been through that journey, they've come out the other side, and put those two clients together to have a conversation and really pick their brains. Feedback that we get from clients is absolutely invaluable to be able to share those experiences.
Networking your clients, great idea.
Absolutely.
Mm. So what advice would you give business owners listening right now?
I suppose if we think about lockdown at the moment, I think lockdown has given a lot of people a lot of time to reflect. So I would openly invite anyone listening to this podcast, if they're a business owner or if they're not a business owner, if now is some of their reflection time, if they really like the why piece that we do, looking at that vision, what are your family goals and aspirations, now is a fantastic time to be talking, now that you're in lockdown, and just reflect. Have your goals, have your ambitions changed during lockdown? Who are you talking to that manages your financial affairs? And if we can help in any way, we'd be delighted to hear from people.
So there you have it. If you're going to go on a big transitional journey, get your planning in, talk to an advisor early, because the other side of things, I guess, what we've noticed is when you're working with business owners who just know that their financial side of management is under control, their personal financial affairs are under control, it gives them that peace of mind that you were talking about earlier. And when they have that peace of mind just internally, they end up being better leaders. They end up being able to lead the business better without that stress. So the sooner you start planning, the better. Excellent.
Absolutely. I agree with all of that, Darryl.
Great. Hey, thanks for your time today, James, and we'll look forward to catching up with you soon.
Thanks a lot. Take care.